Major funding for this program was provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Additional funding was provided by the Rockefeller Foundation.
New York is a good place to study individualism because so many individualists come here. New York, and especially this corner of it, is a great place to disappear in if that's what you want to do. To be yourself in without people thinking you're too strange. It's where a lot of people enjoy what we call freedom of the individual. That's where I think our troubles begin.
It is in our genes to live together and to depend on each other. To be our individual separate selves and at the same time the working parts of others is a paradox. And to be human is to live in this paradox.
Now, individualism is a belief. The belief that people are independent units, separate from nature and from each other. Sometimes we call this freedom. We like to think of it as the opposite of totalitarianism. But I would argue that individualism creates totalitarianism because it weakens and blinds us and shrivels our capacity for democratic cooperation.
I'm Lewis Thomas. You might say that the paradox we're dealing with is that every creature in nature is and must be both unique and universal at the same time. And yet all of us are collectively one species, one group, one society, maybe one colony. So where then, or what is the individual? Is the member of the group the individual, or is it sometimes the group itself?
I'm Philip Slater. I spent a long time trying to figure out why our society is the way it is and writing about it. When you study your own society as opposed to a strange one, you have to look very closely at very familiar things. Try to see them with innocent eyes, as if for the first time. That's what we're going to do.
Everything in this film was shot on, or very near, the corner of Broadway and 72nd Street. There were no hidden cameras, and nothing was made up. We selected the parts we wanted to show, of course, but it all happened. If an anthropologist can study one village and then write a book about a whole culture, why can't we take one block in America as our microcosm? Of course, we all know that New York isn't America, and one corner isn't New York. But if this isn't America, where is it?
Americans think of freedom as something personal, individual, like solo flight. But freedom has to be negotiated. Otherwise, the urge for freedom ends in everyone putting up fences. That's what freedom often means in America, that we each have our own fence. It's ironic that the fence, private property, should be a symbol of freedom. This alone should tell us that something's wrong.
They used to call it Needle Park, where the benches all face out. But it's really Verdi Park. That's Falstaff. That's Giuseppe.
Individualism is a belief system that celebrates the tree, but it fails to see the forest. It even separates the individual from the environment. All these separations make us feel helpless and out of control. So we struggle manfully to exercise power over the environment. And yet, sometimes, we seem happiest when we lose that control, when we allow ourselves to recognize that we're part of a larger scheme. We become helpful to each other, even playful. We enjoy sharing a common experience. But we don't seem to know how to keep it going. It's as though we didn't trust our better impulses.
So much of what we do creatively is really done for fun. We make our living by distributing bits of imagination into the marketplace, spreading ideas around. These are often the products of pure fancy. It is a risky business, but there it is.
Most people accept in principle the idea that everything in nature is part of everything else. But somehow we're taught to suppress this idea, to overlook it, to pay attention only to the individual's achievement. The self-made man, for example. Actually, there is no such thing. The self-made person rises to importance with the help of many other people. Mostly people less obsessed with getting ahead in the world.
Music is the most social of all our interactions. The making of music and the listening are procedures based on the tenderness of our regard for each other, or at least a shared wish for tenderness.
The city itself was built collectively. But we prefer to believe that individuals create things. When something's outstanding, we call it unique.
That's Aida. New York isn't really so tough. It's just a bunch of neighborhoods. Maybe people in Iowa think we're different, but we aren't. Exaggerated Americans, maybe, but we're still Americans.
New Yorkers often come here to get away from the intimacy of the small town, to enjoy freedom from the prying eyes of neighbors. Yet we still love to be noticed. The trouble is, if everyone tries to stand out, nobody does.
It's all in how you look at it. Sometimes New York looks just like Paris.
We're always telling ourselves that selfishness is innate, yet we teach it all the time. That our first duty is to look out for number one. And we think helpfulness has to be taught. Yet we help people instinctively, automatically, without thinking. New Yorkers see themselves as playing the game of survival of the fittest.
Actually, fitness in evolutionary biology doesn't mean fit to kill or anything like it. It means fitting in with the rest of life. If a species is good at this, it tends to survive. The plain fact is that we are a species of single, freestanding individuals designed to live simultaneously social lives. You'll see this double life in all the people on Broadway and 72nd Street. They are the most individual of individuals, each one a unique creation, but each one, note this, is constantly aware of all the rest. And note also the skill, the tact, and the seeming unawareness of this awareness.
We have a hard time noticing that we're part of a community. Sometimes we have to step back until the individuals stop distracting us. By changing the perspective, we can change our perception of ourselves. We could, for example, see ourselves as cells in a communal brain, serving a huge technological colony.
Like termites, for example. One termite, all by itself, can't get anything done. But when enough termites get together to achieve a critical mass, they start building great columns and arches compulsively, as we do, as if by habit, by a process that must be understood as collective thinking.
We could see ourselves as ants, for example, or bees, with no independent wills of our own. It's a distorted view, but no more so than the one we have now. What makes the system work? Who's in charge? All our lives, we've been trained to focus on individual life stories. What does this person want? What's that one feeling now? We're so intent on these personal dramas that we miss the larger collective forces determining their behavior at the same moment. If we could just refocus our eyes, we might ask, who gave the order to march? Now, this perspective is disturbing to some people because it reminds us of an image we find degrading, the image of the human anthill.
Stay away from ants, we say. They have no lessons for us. They are inhuman creatures lacking souls. But observed from a closer perspective, they are less inhuman than you might think. Their behavior is a dense arrangement of individual choices, small decisions, each of them trying to figure out what everyone else is doing, making sure of the coordination.
Members of social species have many things in common. They like to surround themselves with bits of matter that they carry around from place to place. They cleverly overcome obstacles that they've never faced before. Whatever they are, they're not automatons. Dead carcasses are efficiently removed. To replace them, fresh supplies are brought in. Collective systems are fascinating things to watch and admire. The whole thing depends on feedback, a continuous exchange of messages back and forth. Messages the participants are usually unaware they're sending.
It's like an intricate piece of choreography, almost a dance, as intricately intermeshed as a basketball game. Nobody puts a foot down wrong.
While our minds are absent, making plans for the future or reconsidering the past, our bodies are functioning in beautiful coordination with other bodies that also have absent minds. Strangers mustn't touch, so we make constant, subtle adaptations. 100 little sacrifices we make for each other every day. The ancient system of taking turns is far more efficient than the autocratic traffic light. But of course, democracy takes work.
It is not an easy thing to live successfully in a crowd. It takes watchfulness and awareness and enough cooperation to seem almost like affection. We do a lot of frowning and turning away from each other, but it works. We deserve more credit than we get for our skill.
Since the system needs endless information, we're all in the communications business. Not just words, not just the tons of paper we exchange. The unconscious language of hands and bodies is far more important for coordinating a complex society like ours. What we say in words is seldom as rich or true as what we say in other ways.
The human face makes its own language, deep structure and grammar and all. There are complicated metaphors, and you can see them.
That's right.
In any sidewise glance.
The stride, the walk, and the march. With our feet, we tell people where we stand and where we're going. We can't think without using our extremities. Unlike words, the flapping of fins and antennae is always perfectly clear. Our behavior is governed by thousands of rules we don't remember having agreed to. How close we stand to each other is determined almost to the inch by customs outside of our awareness.
I've never seen one bird bump into another bird.
Sometimes we feel close. Sometimes we feel standoffish. Habits that go back for centuries. Rules about touching. Who, how, when, and where it's allowed. And rules about how to react to people who break the rules.
Even gestures that look as though they're directed at oneself as private communications are really signals sent out, at least unconsciously, to the whole world of others.
Everyone follows rules. In our society, there's only one part of the body that almost everybody is allowed to touch. Every culture has rules about when and how we're allowed to look at people. How and when we're allowed to intrude on someone else's space.
You know, right? You know? Oh, yes.
Our actions and our reactions are less voluntary than we think.
You know?
Oh, God. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Uh-huh.
Oh. You know?
How we are and how we see ourselves are out of step. We may think of ourselves as active individuals, but as community members, we're amazingly passive. We let others take charge. We tranquilize ourselves with isolating slogans. That's not my problem, I just work here. The irony of individualism is that it makes us so obedient, ready to accept almost anything. The reason we're so frightened of the anthill is that we secretly admire its efficiency. Chronically ignoring each other has created the very things we resent the most. impersonal, mechanical institutions that make us feel like robots. So then we isolate ourselves further to prove to ourselves that we're not ants, we're people.
The individualist says, I belong at the very center of things, and I can make it work better if it goes my way. It is, in a sense, selfish behavior. But the very intention is a crucial part of our collective behavior. We shout at each other to make sure that our viewpoints will be understood and accepted. And mind you, the central point here, we shout at each other. Very few of us ever go into a room and lock the door and shout at ourselves alone.
The program is Paradox on 72nd Street. The speakers are Philip Slater and Lewis Thomas. The subject is individualism. Philip Slater continues.
The world is usually presented to us with some individual human figure in the foreground, with other people and things relegated to the background. Where's the long shot showing us the entire system at work? Robert Coles, who studied children all his life, points out that when Hopi Indian children draw self-portraits, they draw themselves as a tiny dot in a rich and elaborate landscape, whereas American children draw a figure that fills up the entire page, often with no background at all. Americans aren't the only individualists in the world, of course. Even in our illusions, we're not alone. But we represent an extreme. It's the great American hang-up. We're so afraid of losing our individuality. But you don't lose your individuality by being part of something larger, you gain it. We can recognize the unique character of a clarinet sound, not when it's played by itself, but when it's played along with other instruments, an oboe, a trumpet, or a flute. Then we can see how unique it is. Individuality is always embedded in a cultural style. But in America, we see uniqueness emerging as if by magic from some mysterious inner source we like to call individual genius. We see ourselves as stars, or potential stars, of our own movies. We dress the part so that we'll be ready when the announcement comes. It creates some elegant performances. We walk through life as if surrounded by our own personal pocket of air.
Have a nice day.
We see that we're separate characters, but we like to forget that we're all performing in a single drama. For Americans, confidence is self-confidence, which is where we get that New York walk. It's funny that we often look most alike when we're trying to be special. We think our personalities begin and end at the boundary of our skin. Gregory Bateson, the anthropologist, called this the dermal illusion. It's when you deny your connectedness that you can most easily be taken apart. It's when you don't understand that you're part of the whole that you can be manipulated. When you know you're a part, you can take charge of that part. When you don't, someone else does it for you.
You get a sharp sense of the uniqueness of human individuals by looking at mannequins, especially well-designed ones. There's nothing in the world as fundamentally inhuman as a marvelously lifelike statue. It informs you that there is, in real life, nothing lifelike except life itself.
Waiting for stardom. When will I be loved? We call call this the free world, where no real man needs help. The men are tough, the women pliable. Living up to self-images is exhausting and often disappointing, but we're dedicated. Howard Hughes. Nobody's gonna hold a gun to my head.
So where then or what is the individual? Is the member of the group the individual, or is it the group itself? Is the individual the atom or the particle within the atom? Is it the human cell or the human being made up of cells? It is surely a matter of perspective, of whether we look from far or near. It's a matter of viewpoint. In this case, our vision of ourselves.
When illusion and reality are too far apart, something has to give. Everyone a star. It's as if we were trying to talk ourselves into something, to convince ourselves of something we sense just isn't true. So what is the reality? The thrust of quantum physics, according to physics writer Gary Zukav, is that everything in our universe, including us, that seems to exist independently is actually part of one organic pattern, and that no parts of that pattern are ever really separate from it or from each other. We may think we know this, but our behavior belies it. Our economy is founded on individualism. Huge interlocking institutions grow up as if to mock our illusions, as well as profit from them. Whole symbolic worlds where we can shut out reality and concentrate on our dreams.
Quarter went down to 25 and an eighth. 24 and 7/8 to 5 and 3/8, last 25 and an eighth. You still have a piece of the action. Open 26.
Part of the illusion is that we can control the world with our minds, the invisible power of our superior intelligence. And it sort of works, so long as we all agree to believe. We hypnotize ourselves. This is life. This is life. Across the street, the hazards increase.
$3.60, $2.80, $2.20, and $2.20.
The illusion is that you can crack the system alone if you just put your mind to it.
$3.40. Today is going to come at $7.
That if you study hard enough and long enough, anyone can get rich.
And there are no refunds in the $3.30.
We say that freedom of choice is an American right. I often wonder, if I get the good one, who gets the bad one? Exchange in our society is based on money. Exchange means people dealing with one another for mutual benefit. But there's something wrong here.
Next, please.
In the old days, people not only exchanged things in the marketplace, they exchanged news
Next, please.
about the price of wheat, and the price of hogs, and whether so-and-so had had her baby yet. There was a lot of talk.
Next, please.
In our marketplace, everybody seems to be saying, I'm not here.
Next, please.
How patient we are.
Next, please.
How do we stand it? Why don't we scream, storm the ramparts, throw the rascals out? Because we have our own fish to fry. Have we changed? I only work here. Every now and then, there seems to be hope in the castle.
Next, please.
And then it's lost. And we're left where we were when we started.
Next, please.
If the city seems a lonely place, filled with people who are unattached, incomplete, perhaps it's because city people are removed from all the rest of life. Even the sparse trees look like artifacts, standing ruins of what used to be nature. The earth is 2 subway levels down beneath the street, poor, beaten, ashen ground, not really earth at all, pounded landfill and old rubbish. The only birds are pigeons and sparrows, songless, joyless, and in a sense man-made. It is a hard life. But we look to each other, hoping for things to change. Standing off a bit, it is nice to see that the system does work, in the face of such obstacles as to terrify any one of us standing alone.
To some extent, our system does work. But it works because so much of our behavior expresses our collective instincts unconsciously, even if we don't acknowledge them. To some extent, it doesn't work because we've abdicated so much of the responsibility for coordinating our lives democratically, given it over to experts and machines. We all cherish privacy, for example. In a democracy, you can achieve this actively by mutual consent. But the individualist passively surrenders such arrangements to machines. Each time we call in the machines, we think we've liberated ourselves from another source of friction between us. And each time it increases our feeling of powerlessness. We say, what can one person do? It's when we say that things go wrong. Machines enhance the illusion that we have control. We believe we created the machines to serve us. But we spend a good part of our lives serving them.
One of the nice, endearing things about machines is that every now and then they become almost human, making their own cheerful mistakes. Computers are the best at this, of course, capable of spinning out one delicate error after another. There's a sort of modified second law of thermodynamics at work in an industrial society like ours. Things break down. Things break down indeed, and so sometimes do we. There are no spare parts for a hurt mind. We talk to ourselves, but we're not good listeners. Someone else is needed for that. What is needed is someone other to lend a hand.
Most pleasant good morning to you, New Yorker. The streets are wet. Let's take a look at our rush hour.
We like to think of ourselves as sole survivors. We relish the thought that life is a lonely journey.
Southbound on the B2E to the Kosciuszko Bridge, stay right. The Battery Tunnel, good route to the Gowanus.
Citywide air quality is good. Bumper to bumper, up and down.
So if you're heading for the airport...
It's no wonder we need places to get out of the rain and relax. Convivial places to meet friends and play games. Way stations along the road where we can renew our strength. Even competing, of course, presupposes cooperation. We have to agree on the rules. But what we think about is winning. We pit our brains against each other and enjoy the tension this creates.
The great fun of chess is feeling your own mind at work top speed. It is a source of elation. Even losing can be a pleasure in this game.
Bobby Fischer, America's champion, says that the object of winning in chess is to see your opponent's ego crumble.
Don't make that mistake again, my friend.
It is hard to be a bystander for someone else's elation, and bystanders tend to become depressed. In this respect, we do not comprehend each other. Losers, we think, are just losers.
America believes in winners, and the government itself provides the places to indulge in our belief. Playing against us, please note, one person at a time. As several billionaires have commented, the way to win is to own the game. The state apparently listens to billionaires and to psychologists who say, oddly enough, that gamblers really want to lose. How we cling to the myth of personal success. Like an unrequited lover, faithful to the end. In other countries, even strangers doff their hats, stand at attention, in recognition that death concerns everyone. In America, death, like living and like loving, is a private affair. The amazing thing about city dwellers, so proud, so independent, is that of all the people in the world, they're the least able to take care of themselves individually. Here are people who can't gather, grow, hunt, produce, or process their own food. They don't know how to build their own shelters. They can't make their own clothes without needles and machines and cloth, and they don't know how to make them. They can't build the machines that transport them or refine the gasoline that makes those machines go. They can't make the paper they write on or the devices they use to keep their affairs in order. They depend for their very lives on a huge social and technological machine over which they have absolutely no control. Alone, these people are practically helpless. It's a miracle they survive at all. For many, the illusion is wearing thin. But Americans are ingenious. They've come up with 1,000 social inventions designed to put things right again. Are we too private? Let's share our deepest feelings. Are we too controlled? Let's be spontaneous. The struggle is heroic. But until we change our assumptions, doomed.
The most complete individualists are concerned about how they look to others, what others are thinking about them. We are all consumed by the need to explain ourselves to others. We would write letters to change the world if we could only get the thing down on paper. Normal people, we'd like to think, can take others or leave them. It is not so. We are all equipped with special receptors, people receptors, other receptors. When something goes wrong with the electronic circuitry of these centers in the human brain, we go, so to speak, out of our minds. Hard to look at without embarrassment. Like shadow boxing, it usually has more symbolic meaning than honest substance. Characteristically, we try to forget the matter as soon as it is finished, even pretending it never happened.
Some seek guidance from other cultures, hoping they haven't made the mistakes we've made. We sense that where we need to go is somehow based on acting in concert. We just don't know how to translate this into social change. Meanwhile, we sing our private songs. We dance our private dances. Some march to the beat of a different drum. Many hear the admonition of a private voice. If you're all alone, you'd better learn how to defend yourself.
Kick him in the groin. Hide his nose off.
Our stereotypes become prophecies. The black perpetrator, white young man who upholds the law. We congratulate ourselves that life really is the way we say it is. And if we don't like it, we switch channels, select our own environment. The illusion often gives us a glorious feeling of freedom. But it's hard for a society to move forward when its people are facing each other back to back.
The film is Paradox on 72nd Street. Philip Slater is author of the books The Pursuit of Loneliness and Wealth Addiction. Lewis Thomas wrote The Lives of a Cell and The Medusa and the Snail. Lewis Thomas continues.
I'd be willing to predict one thing about ourselves. I make the prediction uncertainly, since uncertainty and puzzlement are characteristics of our strange species. But the prediction is this: the central, universal aspect of human behavior built into our biological inheritance is the urge to be useful. Perhaps we have strings of genes making the urge to be useful a kind of instinct. The trouble is we do not come equipped with genes instructing us how to do this. We're born wanting to be useful, but we have to learn how, and this is never easy. But keep an eye on children. They learn how as easily and quickly as they learn language. It is child's play.
Many thoughtful Americans look at our culture in despair. They say we're naturally selfish, that you can't change human nature. Children are little savages. Generosity must be taught. They argue that we were hunters for millions of years, and that's why aggression is natural. Then why do we need to teach it? What do we teach our children? To be self-reliant. We teach with love and deep concern, but the message is the same. Don't ask for help. Soon you'll have to go it alone, like your father before you. Left to themselves, children cooperate as well as compete. They have the capacity to be many things, contradictory things. The question is, which of these capacities do we choose to foster the most? Historically, human beings have been more collective than individualistic. After all, you had to cooperate to gather food and hunt. Americans are brought up on the story of the ugly duckling, the outcast who becomes the star. When this drama is enacted, two things happen at once. We identify with the outcast and his hopes, and we share the irritation of the group.
Stop bugging us.
He should be locked up somewhere, out of sight. But whether we like him or not, he's the one we notice. What we don't notice is that there's also a group here cooperating. Because we tend to become what we see, it's crucial to understand what it is we're trained to see. we see it all? There are so many things we've trained ourselves not to notice about ourselves.
What we are up to is making connections whenever we can. At times we organize ourselves for this in rhythm to make sure of our connectedness. A parade is a metaphor implying unity of purpose. It has the look of compulsive behavior, but when it really works properly, it is the greatest fun.
As I said before, individuality isn't lost when you're in a group. The group gives you the chance to enjoy it. Some people understand this. Failure to understand it can be very dangerous. Ignorance creates a vacuum. Sooner or later, someone or something is going to fill that vacuum. Move in on what the rest of us have said was not our problem. If you brainwash people into forgetting that they're part of each other, you can manipulate them. Their fears, their loneliness, their need to be special. If you can convince them that freedom means doing your own thing, they'll never organize against you. Those who want to exercise power over us can profit from our illusions if we let them. That's how individualism leads to fascism. Divide and conquer.
If you needed proof of our biological interdependence, language would be the best kind of hard evidence. We use language to connect, and we can invent all sorts of language. We make poems for each other. We sing to each other. We make art and music to satisfy ourselves that we have enchanted others. I claim, although the evidence seems to pile up against it, that in truth, we love each other.
Small communities and groups of friends don't need presidents or popes, although of course they may develop leaders. Yet actions are carried out, decisions are made, goals are achieved. No one has to give orders for things to get done. We've been cooperating together throughout our history. We don't need to be taught. It's through our relationships that we develop our individual style. You can't be generous or stingy, or aggressive or timid in a vacuum. You can't even withdraw without relationships to withdraw from. Who wants to laugh alone?
Given our problem, it is immensely encouraging to remember that we are a juvenile species, the youngest significant animals on the face of the earth, having arrived only this morning by geological time. We were pushed out of our nests to learn flight as best we could at the moment when we came into possession of language. We are, because of our very youth, required to live experimental lives, still trying to understand what usefulness really is and how to accomplish it without getting everything wrong.
Living in the individualistic society hasn't been all waste motion. By trying to move around the world on one cylinder, we stumbled on some fascinating things and created the most elaborate society the world has ever known. But it's time to move on before we become permanently disabled by the handicap we've imposed upon ourselves. When we think we're not connected with anybody, of course we feel powerless, because there are so many of them, and there's only one of me. We love to talk about the individual versus society, but that's just a way to make us feel heroic and helpless. We're not alone fighting a juggernaut. We are society. Society is us. People say you can't change human nature. We do it all the time. Has a moratorium been declared on human evolution? Each of us shares a complete and many-sided humanity, whatever we may say about ourselves. We can be anything we want. We can take any path we want. We put our blinders on and we can take them off again. And we need to, because we've wandered onto the edge of a cliff, and a false step at this stage could be permanent.
Catching our balance under the weight of our new brains and still fumbling with our new thumbs, we are indeed still juvenile. As a social species, which we unmistakably are, we have only just begun. It is not easy to learn, and we have surely not yet learned it, but we can at least make the problem itself clear. How to be our own selves, and at the same time, the working parts of one flesh.
Major funding for this program was provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Additional funding was provided by the Rockefeller Foundation.